It's official. The long search is over. Mathieu Darche will be the next general manager of the New York Islanders. We're going to break down on this episode of Islanders Digest why this was an incredible selection for the New York Islanders, and also talk about what this means for the president of hockey operations position, because we still don't have clarity on that. Before we get into all that fun stuff, we notice that 80% of you who watch these videos are not yet subscribed to the channel. So if you're an Islander fan, you want more Islanders content just like this, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the channel. Also, we are getting closer and closer to our goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers before the draft, so be sure to help out with that and be a part of this Islanders community. Now, Islander fans, let me know in the comments what you think about this hiring. Personally, I'm ecstatic, and from the comments I've read over the past few weeks, Mathieu Darche has been the top selection amongst fans, which is why everyone is celebrating today that Pierre LeBrun and pretty much every reporter has basically reported that the Islanders will be naming Mathieu Darche as their GM today. Now, it has not been official in the sense where the Islanders have not announced this, but Elliot Friedman is reporting it, Pierre LeBrun, Stefan Rosner, pretty much everybody who has credibility has said that Darche is going to be the next general manager of the New York Islanders. So it's as close to official as it can possibly be without it being official. I do want to quickly note for later on in the video, he is being named the GM of the New York Islanders. That doesn't say GM and president of hockey operations. We still don't have clarification on whether there's going to be a president of hockey operations, what that will look like. As of right now, we just have confirmation that he is the GM. So we're going to talk a little bit about that president of hockey operations position in the end of this video. But right now, I just really want to focus on this hiring of Mathieu Darche. This is a great hiring for the New York Islanders, and also a great hiring for Darche. I mean, this is a person who has been trying to get a general manager position, who has been worthy of a general manager position for the longest time. It is really hard in the NHL to really break in with so many former GMs. A lot of times, these teams want to go with these retreads because they get something that there's like a known quantity, and that feels safer in a sense for owners, and it makes a lot of sense. But Mathieu Darche has been a really qualified candidate for the longest time, and he's just been unable to beat out other experienced GMs. I mean, as Pierre LeBrun mentioned, this is why I'm having this longer tweet rather than just the Mathieu Darche is expected to be named as a GM, because it's really important to mention that he was heavily considered for the Penguins job until Kyle Dubas became available. And then he was in the final interviews with Vancouver and Montreal, did not get the job, but he was right there for those positions as well. And then he also interviewed in Chicago. So this is a guy who's been on a lot of teams' radar for a GM position for a long time. He just couldn't get over the hump, and it looked like that was going to be the same case with the New York Islanders. At first, they fell in love, were flirting with Ken Holland, didn't get him to come over. Then they were kind of talking to Jeff Gordon, who basically kind of took that position away from Darche in Montreal. And then finally, they were really considering Darche and Bergevin, and it seemed like Bergevin was going to get the position just because he had more experience. But what I really appreciate about Darche throughout this whole process is every single time he got an interview, he was clearly able to impress the Islanders owners and really make them reconsider when it was clear from the beginning the Islanders wanted somebody in this position who had a ton of experience. And yet Darche, the newcomer, was able to show that he has what it takes to be an NHL GM, and I'm really excited to see what he does for the New York Islanders. Now, I will make it clear, and I was talking about this even when we were talking about some of the candidates I did not want to see be the GM of the New York Islanders. We have to reserve judgment. Yes, this is the name we wanted. This is the resume that we really liked, having 2 Stanley Cups with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and also really being a big part of that front office, not just being an assistant GM. He was really hands-on when it comes to these big trades, these big draft picks, all of it. He was a huge part of all that. That is something that's exciting, but we still have to reserve judgment to see what he does with the New York Islanders, because now that he's the general manager of the Islanders, everything that happens with the Lightning doesn't matter. And I'd be saying the same thing if it was Bergevin or any of these other candidates. What you've done in the past, it's cool, but this is the same thing with Lou Lamoriello. He has a Hall of Fame NHL career. Frankly, what he did with the Islanders was disappointing. So I'm going to reserve some judgment until we see what type of general manager Darche is going to be for the New York Islanders. Still, when it comes to the candidates that were available, he has to be the sexiest choice and frankly the best choice for the future direction of this team. That's something Islander fans are going to be excited about. It also brings up really quickly, we want to mention, we talked about in previous videos how, considering he was with the Tampa Bay Lightning, in addition to winning experience, one of the players the Islanders are really interested in this offseason is Isaac Howard. And Darche is definitely going to give the Islanders a bit of a leg up when it comes to both convincing Isaac Howard to sign and, more importantly, knowing what the Lightning are going to want in a trade for Isaac Howard. So we are going to have to stay tuned and see if that is something he can make happen. But I also really want to talk about what the rest of this Islander regime is going to look like, because that still isn't clear. That's definitely something you have to know. Now, I'm reporting this right after this happened. I got out of the shower, saw this news. I just had to get right into talking about this, and I'm so excited that Darche is to be the next general manager of this team. We got to emphasize that this doesn't mean that the rest of the candidates are completely out when it comes to other positions with the New York Islanders. And the main one I'm really considering right here is the president of hockey operations. Sure, some of these other names might be coming in as advisors or something like that, depending on if they were kind of in conversations together while the Islanders were making the selection. But the big name we got to talk about is Brendan Shanahan. He got let go. I guess not fired technically. Mutually agree to separate ways with the Toronto Maple Leafs just yesterday. And the Islanders were considered to be very interested in Shanahan. And Stefan Rosner is speculating. He doesn't have confirmation, but there is belief that Shanahan has already had his initial meeting with the New York Islanders this morning, right before this information really leaked about Darche becoming the next general manager of the franchise. And what this means to me is either the Islanders agreed to go in a separate way with Shanahan and really didn't agree with his vision for the team, or considering the fact that they waited until today to make this announcement, because it seems pretty clear that Darche has been the front runner for the past few days. At one point he was behind Bergman, but after the second interviews, it did seem pretty clear that Islanders want to go with Darche. Perhaps this is more of a situation where they sat down with Shanahan, and either he said he didn't want the position, or maybe he does want the position, and he agrees that Darche is the right direction to go. So we're going to have to keep on waiting to see what the news is on Shanahan. I do think there actually is a really good chance that Shanahan also comes in to be the president of hockey operations. Because again, Darche was not named the president of hockey operations. He was named the general manager. It actually would make a lot of sense to bring in Shanahan to be a president, to really build out the rest of this organization, especially considering it is Darche's first time. Obviously, he is going to be running the show when it comes to the Islanders roster. At least he should be absolutely running the show. We have no reason to believe that he's not. But in terms of filling this Islanders front office with personnel, it could be helpful to have somebody like Shanahan, who both has good relationship with a ton of hockey operations talent, but also has done this before. We talk about Shanahan. There are a lot of flaws with his tenure with the Maple Leafs. One of them, 100%, was not how well he built up that front office, which was pretty much ruined when he got there. But really, let me know what you think about this hire for the New York Islanders. What do you think about Mathieu Darche? And what do you think about the potential of Shanahan joining him as the president of hockey operations? That is not confirmed, but I do think there is a good chance that we get news on that perhaps later today, if not tomorrow. I have a feeling if Shanahan wants that position, it's probably more of a thing of negotiating price, considering he still wants that. Again, we don't have any more news saying that Shanahan does or doesn't want the job, but I'm assuming he does, just considering of what we've seen so far. While we have gotten the news that Darche is going to be the general manager of the Islanders, we still haven't heard anything saying that Shanahan is no longer in consideration to be president. And who knows, perhaps a candidate like Bergman could make his way up to being the president. We'll see what happens when it comes for that. But I'd love to know your thoughts on this hire as of right now in the comments below, because I'm just super excited about it. I'm wondering if you all agree with me. As always, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. My name is Patrick Nilan. This is Islanders Digest. Let's go Islanders.